Hey Canucks fans, now that the Canucks have been officially eliminated from playoff contention, how are you feeling about this team? And to you, what is the biggest off-season storyline to keep an eye on? I'm Canuck Clay, and this is my Canucks Take, all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Wednesday, April the 27th. If you're new, here's what you should do. Hit the subscribe button now for daily Canucks insight that's positive, timely, and trustworthy. I already recorded a quick vlog this morning about the 1-year anniversary of my Nice Guy Clay meme, so make sure you check that out. But now I want to talk a little bit more seriously about the matter at hand, and that is indeed our Vancouver Canucks. Last night, despite winning 5-2, beating the Seattle Kraken, we completely owned that team. Yes, I get there's an expansion team. But despite that, the Canucks were officially eliminated from playoff contention when the Dallas Stars and Vegas Knights both obtained a single point in their game last night. And now the Canucks simply cannot catch Dallas for the second wildcard spot. So we know that the Canucks won't make the playoffs. Now, they kind of found out that news, I think during the first intermission of their game was when the Dallas-Vegas game was winding down, and then when they're moving into extra time, the overtime, knowing, basically eliminating the Canucks from playoff contention. So I think by the start of the second period, Bruce Boudreau and the Canucks, anyone who, I don't know if someone phoned it down or talked in one of the assistant coaches' ears, but basically, for all intents and purposes, that's when they knew. And then Justin and I, as we were watching the game, we were kind of wondering, did that kind of show in their play? Because the second period was horrible. Maybe one of the worst periods we've seen the Canucks play this season. Outshot 16-3, taking a bunch of penalties, whatever. But they knew that their fate was sealed. They probably knew going into the game that it was going to be very unlikely. So my first question to you as Canucks fans is, how do you feel now that we know that they're not going to make the playoffs? How do you look at this season? And I know we're going to have a lot of time to talk about this during the offseason, but do you look at this team as a success? The fact that since Boudreau took over, the Canucks have gone 31, 15, and 9. That is 16 games over 500. 16 games over 500 gives you 98 points. And now you're talking about being third in your division, or at least first wildcard spot, and not fighting for a wildcard spot. So do you look at it like that? Do you even look at it as when Boudreau came on, he still disappointed you? I'm not sure if anyone's going to think that, but I want to give you the space to express that down below in the comments. Are you at all disappointed in Boudreau? Are you disappointed that Canucks did not make a move earlier in the season, not waiting, maybe going earlier than December 5th, firing both Travis Green and Jim Benning? Do you think the Canucks had done that sooner? And just looking at Boudreau's track record, probably, if they had done that sooner, would the Canucks be in a playoff spot right now as opposed to not? So talk to me in the comments below. How are you feeling about the Canucks season, first off? Was it a success? Was it a failure? Is it a success with a star beside it, an asterisk beside it, because of how the team started so poorly? Or do you have another perspective? And then a couple other perspectives I want to bring to you is, do you think, just questions, do you think the Canucks overplayed Thatcher Demko, or do you think they had to? Do you wish the Canucks didn't make that trade with Arizona, Ekman Larsson and Garland? Yes, but they're big contracts, especially Ekman Larsson's. But then that's $12 million we could have had off the books in this season to help with our salary cap crunch, and then we would still have Dylan Guenther, who is ripping it up in the WHL. So, you know, I'm not a big hindsight as 2020 guy, but I think these are legitimate questions that we need to ask as we look at and dissect this season. So there's that. Are you disappointed with the way that Halak performed, or do you think he was fine as a backup goaltender? Do you think that were there leadership issues between Horvat and Miller, or was that overplayed? What was wrong with Petey? Was it simply a wrist injury, or do you think there's something else there? And more importantly, are you worried about him going forward? Likely not. What about Hughes? The record-breaking season for him, the underestimated, under-hyped play of guys like Pearson, Podkolzin, and Luke Schenn. So there are still so many storylines that you can delve into looking at the season. But for now, and we're gonna have a lot of time to dissect the season at the end of the season. We still have 2 more games to go. But I want to know how you're feeling right now, given that you know the Canucks aren't going to make the playoffs. They'll likely finish somewhere between 9th, 10th, or 11th, probably 10th in the conference. So not great, only missing out by maybe anywhere from 2 to 4 points. But how does that make you feel? Is this a season a success? Is this a season a failure? Is it a combination of both? And do you think the Canucks should have made a move earlier? And here's another question. What does Boudreau's success with the roster say about either Jim Benning or Travis Green? I was always of the mind that Green was a good coach, but Benning was a bad GM. But might have we had it the other way around, where Benning was a good GM, i.e. all these players, and Green was a bad coach? Or do you fall on the side of both Benning and Green were bad at their jobs? Then, looking ahead, and I'm not going to get into all of it now, but I'm going to drop some suggestions here, and I want you to as well. What's going to be the biggest off-season story for you? The two that come to mind right away are, what's the future of Bruce Boudreau? Will the Canucks extend him? And maybe we don't even have to wait to the offseason for that to happen. Maybe that happens in the next week or so, as it sounds like there's a lot more discussion ramping up between Boudreau's people and the Vancouver Canucks. But to me, that's the one story. But even a bigger story than that, because I think the Boudreau one will resolve itself soon, is what's the future of Brock Besser? Oh, that $7.5 million qualifying offer. Do you try and extend him to 1 year at less? Do you try and extend him to a multi-year contract at a little less than 7.5? Do you take him to arbitration, or do you sign that 1 year, $7.5 million deal with him? So I think, to me, the Besser contract, Besser's future, that's going to be the biggest story of the offseason, followed by Bruce Boudreau's future, which I think will be resolved really soon. And then there's still draft day. What are you going to do there? Are you going to make some moves around draft day with guys with contracts that are going to expire at the end of next season? The Millers and the Horvats of the world. I don't think they do that. I think with Miller, they wait until the trade deadline. But that's going to be a story to watch. What about signing RFAs, re-signing them, like the Highmores and the Lamicos of the world? Nothing massive from a contract standpoint. Really, the Besser is the biggest one. And then we're going to say bye to a few UFAs. So you can see, with the Canucks, there's always a multitude of storylines. So I want to know which ones you're most interested in for the summer. So 2 things in the comments below. Tell me how you're feeling about the season right now. Success, failure, a mixture of both. And then what are some of the biggest storylines that you're looking forward to tracking in the offseason? Is it Besser? Is it Boudreau? Is it free agency? Is it the draft? Is it extensions? Whatever it may be, I'd love to know your thoughts. So let me know in the comments below. I will do my best to redirect and reply as always. I did my shoutouts in my earlier video, but of course, thanks to Perform and Transform and to Advanced City Experts, my 2 lead sponsors, and to members of all levels, I appreciate you. Don't forget, no live stream tonight. I'll be studying tonight because my final's on Friday, but I will be doing a live stream, speaking of Friday, on Friday night after the Canucks' final game of the season against Edmonton. I'll be streaming from 10 p.m. to midnight Pacific time. In the meantime, as always, subscribe if you'd like to, like this video if you'd like to, become a member or upgrade your membership if you'd like to, and leave a comment down below if you'd like to. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Have a great rest of the day. God bless, and go Canucks go.